Hello and welcome to etauto and to this episode of Technology Talks. Indeed, a very special one. Not only because we have not one but two guests in this episode. We have Suman Mishra, CEO of Mahindra Last Mile Mobility, and Deepak NG of Dassault Systèmes India, who is the managing director of the company. And this episode, by the way, is the first one in the Technology Talk series where we have this discussion in our studio here in Mumbai. So thanks for tuning into this discussion. We are going to talk about electric mobility and its evolution in India, and also the role of various technology developments and the evolution of the OEM supplier partnership, the way it is going to change in the coming years, along with the growing megatrend of electric mobility. Talking about electric mobility, Suman, let me start the discussion with you. The current status, I mean, your three-wheelers are seeing a good rise in terms of offtake at the marketplace. By the way, belated congratulations on crossing the 1 lakh mark, cumulative sales. So accelerated growth for the industry and for Mahindra Last Mile Mobility expect this year?
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be here, Sumantra, and compliments on this new studio. Yes, indeed, electrification is what appears to be the trend of the moment. We are seeing very significant growth. You know, it's already doubled from where we ended last year, and we have only gone like 7 months. So there is much room to grow. However, it's still in the early double-digit phases, right? The passenger, we're talking about 10% and the cargo around 14%. So there is significant headroom to grow before we can achieve our vision of 80% electrification by 2030, which is what the government has stated for this particular category, 2-3-wheelers. So yes, a lot of room to grow, and I hope we also continue to keep up the momentum.
Right, with the rest of the financial year, looks like, I mean, the growth rate should be same, if not better. So at the overall annual basis, it could be a doubling of the market, if not more.
Most likely, yes. And there are a few things, right, that driving it. One, of course, is there are many more players who have entered the market now, which drives up both innovation and competitive intensity. So everybody, you know, gears towards targeting and approaching, capturing the market. But also other things like financing has started to become somewhat easier. Charging is starting to get into shape for the government. And also finally the incentives, which are our government mandate, they are moving very aggressively and fast, both at national and state level. So all of this are cumulatively coming together to help, you know, the last mile particularly electrify very, very fast.
And talking about the electrification megatrend, Deepak, it's with this megatrend, the automotive industry always has been a kind of a landscape for or a canvas for technology, but it's more so now and of a different kind with electric mobility. So that's also kind of giving you different avenues for business and kind of collaboration with the industry players, particularly OEMs.
I mean, absolutely, Sumantra. So if you look at automobile industry is one of the industry which always used to take a lead in terms of technology implementation and technology adoption. So if you look at consumer behavior also, customers wanted a robust product, customer wanted an economical product, and customers started to kind of say that we need experience. Now things are actually going beyond that. Most of the consumers want to buy something with a purpose. So the purpose is all sustainability. So when we talk about sustainability, the electric vehicle is actually playing a major role. In that context, as a technology player, we have to adapt to the changes, and then we have to bring technology by which not only you build a robust product, but also how do you kind of monitor your sustainability elements, how the electric vehicle design happening, and also what it can actually contribute towards the sustainability part is something which we are looking at. And we have been seeing lot of requests in terms of this new sustainable innovation, particularly in electric mobility. We see a lot, and this is everywhere.
And sustainability is also driving the kind of increasing, kind of growing trend of simulation, which means you kind of move away from physical testing or physical iterations as much as possible, go to the virtual world, which in other words also helps you crunch the development time, time to market. So can you throw some light on, like in that context, your digital twin has been a trend which is increasingly adopted by the companies, and now you're talking about virtual twin. So can you just throw some light on how is this technology adoption kind of progressing, and what kind of key benefits that the industry is deriving and can perhaps derive as it progresses further?
So you touched upon 2 points. So one is digital twin and then virtual twin, and also you talked about how the prototypes can also be reduced. So as you rightly said, the technology is playing a major role when it comes to moving from digital twin to virtual twin. So when I talk about virtual twin, it's no longer a simple product or an assembly which you simulate and see the behavior of the component and then its mechanism, and also to an extent use it for your downstream purpose. But now the idea is right from the beginning, capturing the customer feedback to take it to manufacturing, simulation, supplier collaboration, and again, talking to customers. So when we actually see this entire value chain, so there are a lot of processes involved, right? Now, how we can actually model and how the entire process can be kind of brought in a single platform, by which your virtual twin technology can play a major role in decision making and also analysis part of it. Now, when we do that, I mean, I'm going to touch upon a very small component on the virtual twin. You touched upon the prototypes. So typically what happens in any manufacturing company, prototypes are very key. Now, prototypes will also help them to probably improvise, but if they can actually make those prototypes everything virtual, one, they're leaving less carbon footprint because they are not wasting the prototypes. That is, right away, it is adding benefit to the organization in terms of their sustainability goals. Second thing, it also helps them to immediately change the decisions or the design by which they can simulate multiple scenarios.
So it makes the entire process more agile, right?
Exactly.
And for OEM, the other aspect, two key drivers would be the cost and time to market. How much of an influence can it, how much of a difference will this make?
Oh, again, if I have to talk about EV, I think you'll completely agree with me. So with the startups coming in, the OEMs actually kind of changing from the regular conventional mobility to electric mobility, there is a huge crunch on the time, right? Like, the design cycle time or the new product development time, maybe from 24 months to everybody wants to roll out a product in 6 months to 18 months. So when we do all that, absolutely this technology, I mean, the technology plays a major role here. So, and you said it right, when it comes to cost, again, you don't have to spend time on going back and then doing assessment on what kind of suppliers you had in the past, whether they are able to make it or not. And there are areas where you actually want to decide make or buy. Everything was going in a sequential way. Now, with the technology coming in, at the beginning of your product design, you can actually start looking at some of the decisions which you may do later part, like manufacturability. Suppliers may be good in tooling, but today with the new scenario, they may be thinking of 3D printing, right? So those things actually crop up or pop up immediately when you are actually in the new product development phase itself. So this obviously help in reducing the cost, and obviously you're reducing prototypes and then all
and the
other
time to market also.
unwanted activities which will help you to reduce that.
Suman, I mean, your experience at Mahindra, how are you kind of tapping into the technology tools or technology options that are available to enhance your sustainability, reduce costs, of course, and kind of improve the time to market? By the way, what is the next kind of benchmark that you've set for yourself in terms of time to market?
Well, let's keep that to ourselves, I think. But I wanted to jump on this discussion because it's quite fascinating. See, EV being so much software and, the hardware in loop type of testing is becoming very, very critical. You really don't have to wait for, the prototypes to come through for a lot of the testing to be done. You can start very early on through the virtual validation, simulation, because it's software along with the electronic parts, right? That's quite significantly different in the way you operate. Even the battery pack, cells, BMS, MCUs, these are all software hardware combinations. So that's what you need to test and refine. While the vehicle, of course, you will do a lot of it is still conventional methods. But this part is where you speed up. And to speed that up, you use a lot of the virtual simulation and testing. Because like I said, is software. How else do you test software? So we are borrowing straight away from the IT industry and going straight into adopting as many technologies as we can to speed up. On the sustainability side, of course, zero tailpipe emissions is great, and it adds to the every vehicle we sell. We like to say that it's not contributing. It is contributing to a better environment for our future generations.
Right.
It's not just taking something in loan. But beyond just that, right? When you look at the well-to-wheel, now that is another topic
That's
that has
another
taken.
Topic of debate,
that is a topic of discussion where you have to measure everything. How you manufacture? Are you using the renewable energy to manufacture? Are you conserving the water? As you know, Mahindra Group is a leader in an ESG, and we are very, very committed to ESG, and we've taken the 2040 goals. But
for carbon neutrality.
Yeah, for carbon neutrality. And to get to that, we have to measure everything along the way.
Including your supply chain.
As much as we can, right?
Yeah.
So not to the tier 3s, I think that is quite hard, but at least the tier 1s. So because of this, now a lot of awareness has come on sustainability. And I think half the battle is getting aware, and then you consistently can work on it. It takes time. Packaging, that's another one, supply chain packaging materials. So all of this we are working to improve.
Yeah.
Then the final area where really technology is vital and it is not fully cracked yet is end of life.
End of life.
End of life testing of the cells, assessing how much of the value is left and what is the best use case of it. This is the next problem that we are trying to solve for in partnership with many startups now. And I think that is one area where technology will become crucial. The state of health determination of the cells, how do you constantly take the data to improve your algorithms, which determine how you are degrading the batteries and what is the life of the battery at the end of useful
And the
life.
second life for the ones which are not fit for
recycling for those that are not fit and those that have 50-60%, then you have to find a second application.
Right.
And all of it is determined only by technology and data.
From your vehicles, the earlier set of EVs, I'm sure the batteries doing duty in those vehicles must have entered that stage now.
Yes, so that is amazing, right? When you have 7-8 years of data, you know how your cells are performing and you know what cells to use. So without revealing too much of it, yes. So we are in very active discussions on figuring out what is the right mechanism, whether it is for reuse or for disposal, and what does it take to improve the usage patterns.
Right.
All through data.
Okay.
And that is a big piece of work that we are collaborating with multiple startups and financiers to solve for.
Okay. And also talking about partnership, collaboration, and the OEM tier 1 partnership. There was a different model a few decades ago. It was more built to print. Then with the technology enhancement, technology development, then it was on a kind of co-development. And now it's the new crop of suppliers, so-called suppliers, technology providers. and EVs being so technologically intensive, the dynamics are changing between OEM and at least a particular set of suppliers.
Horses for courses, right? Depends on the kind of vehicle, depends on your level of maturity, and depends on the availability of software. So what I like to say is this problem that I am the CEO of, last mile, is non-existent in any market in the world. Right? There are no real 3-wheelers sold outside of India. 2-wheelers also, we are one of the largest manufacturers. So the availability of buying out technology is limited. But if you go to the bigger vehicle side, that problem may have been solved in other markets where you can then adapt for India. So it's like horses for courses. Like for the last mile, I think you have to build technology for India, for which you may take some aggregates that are available, but a lot of the work has to be also done by the OEM. And also because of the criticality of cost. It's a very price sensitive entry point in the market, and in order to control the price sensitive nature, again the technology has to be localized, Indianized, and made suitable for the cost points at which it can operate. So still build to print is going to be a big part of this part of the ecosystem, whereas you're always looking for what is best in the world and how can you adapt it to these vehicle categories.
And in the last mile transportation, be it for cargo or passengers, how do you see the electric mobility megatrend evolving? Perhaps not only in the current form factors, perhaps with some emergence of new ones also as well.
Yeah, why not? I mean, because it gives you a lot of degree of flexibility on how you shape the vehicle, no? So that allows you to change and play around. Like once you have the platform ready, then you can tweak it around. Of course, hopefully you've done the work upfront to make sure it's a platform and you don't have to invest for every new product. But assuming you have the platform ready, now then you can continuously innovate to meet the customer applications. So I don't know about very many other form factors yet, but even in these categories, we are seeing a lot of innovation, like varianting. This is not something that was common, or traversing the full range of requirements. There will be some niche products at the higher end, which is a higher payload, longer range.
You're talking about three-wheelers only.
Three-wheeler or
a small four-wheeler.
Small four-wheelers. There is a full gamut of offerings you can offer, and you can offer it because of modularity. Which you couldn't really think through, right? Now I can offer a smaller kilowatt-hour pack and a bigger kilowatt-hour pack, and I can modulate the motor to make sure that I get the best juice out of the vehicle. So that is now only possible because of platformization and in
an architecture where the investment is already done one time.
Yes, then you can continuously innovate, and this becomes running changes. So that's why I'm saying being able to receptive to customer needs is and being fast to market is something sort of, I think, innately comes with this category of vehicles. Little hard to change the engine, after you have made it, but simpler to change I won't say it's easy, but simpler to change the battery architecture. So that is the way I think evolution is certainly going to happen. Form factors we'll see. I mean, there is a wide gamut here, right? We can find specific applications. The only thing always becomes the scale of the market, right? In any investment that you do, you have to get some
scale of the market and also environment. Like for example, there are examples of monopods.
Yeah, exactly.
Overseas, yes. It as a concept, it may make a good case for a Bangalore or a Mumbai, but the environment in terms of the road infrastructure and things perhaps are not so conducive for that to be kind of implemented. So it has to be. The stakeholders have to kind of come together, and which includes urban planners also. Coming to you, Suman talked about architecture, and the virtual kind of software, these simulation technologies is really helping OEMs, even tier ones, to come up with these modular architecture, design and develop these architectures. So in terms of more technology adoption, in terms of which are aided by virtual technologies, what is the scope? What is the trend?
I think there is huge opportunity there because it is continuously evolving. When you say software or the architecture, what we talk about, right? So way back, like 20 years back, hardly any software in any vehicle, right? There was no software actually, it was all mechanical components. Like what you said is right, like you have a product, you have released and you wait for the next vehicle to launch. Now it's like, IT way of looking at any mobility. So basically it comes with different version. When we talk about that, the requirements are dynamic in nature. So you start with a requirement, and that requirement has to be captured and you have to simulate that requirement. So when you have a platform, you have multiple other aspects, right? Like, whether it is battery or the software in which you are actually thinking way ahead in terms of autonomous vehicle. So all these simulations you do. The 3D experience platform from Dassault Systèmes, where most of our customers are leveraging, is at the beginning taking the systems, like systems of systems, what we call, right? Simulating through a systems engineering concept of every single aspect on the architecture, and also passing the same information or connecting that same information through your suppliers as well. So when I say earlier, it was all value chain, right? From your concept design to your own simulation team, to design team, to manufacturing, and to an extent marketing was involved. But today the collaboration plays a key role because there are a lot of players from your supplier community.
And it's becoming an end-to-end collaboration,
exactly,
right?
End-to-end collaboration, not only restricted with suppliers. Like, today, like what we heard from Mahindra, that they are actually working a lot with startups. So they're also part of the ecosystem now. And the academia is part of the ecosystem, the policy makers. So how you can actually get all the data points in single repository, or the data information to design. Like, we spoke about the platform. I mean, I can take one example, Canoe, a mobility service provider in US. So they just using our platform, they had one single platform by which they can actually in a modular way design whether it is a multi-delivery vehicle or a small cargo vehicle. And then again, the suppliers have been kind of given access so that they can actually validate and see how the behavior is all about. I mean, again, it comes back to the cost savings and how well you can actually come out with the product mainly timely and then less cost.
Right. And Suman, it's not only the vehicle. Even the manufacturing approaches are also evolving, right? In this very highly, disruptive era. At Mahindra, especially at Mahindra Last Mile Mobility, are you kind of exploring any new ideas, new approaches which are more efficient and more sustainable and perhaps less investment, less cost intensive also?
I don't know, you should give me the answer to that one. No, we are always looking, always looking at what is the best technology. Unfortunately, a lot of the battery technology resides now in China. So we are local, we obviously make our own battery packs in-house. So we are localizing and optimizing so that we can get the similar scale benefits as is importation. But for me, the manufacturing the best example that we can do from a cost saving would be localization of cells,
right.
which is crucial and vital because
hopefully the PLI scheme should result in that.
I'm quite hopeful that there is some cell localization that happens for even our vehicle category types because that really breaks it, right? Then you can really do your assembly, supply chain, location, inbound, outbound, everything to optimize on cost. It's just not the conversion cost, right? It's the whole ecosystem.
Correct.
Of course, you have to charge these vehicles all the time. So now you charge these vehicles, you need to make sure you have right type of solar available in the
and when you
grid.
import, you also add to the carbon footprint of transporting those components, things like that. Okay, talking about staying with technology and mentioned battery, I almost forgot to ask you about the new battery technologies that you see kind of entering into large-scale adoption, generally in the EV space, but more particularly in the last-mile mobility space. How do you see that progressing?
Yeah, I think
what are the most kind of promising ones?
See, right now we have done pilot with a whole range of technology or conversations, at least with a range of technology player, with its aluminum air. We have discussed with solid state. We're discussing, but
I believe with the aluminum air you got a fantastic range.
Yes, but that starts and discharges during the life. Yeah, then you have to replace the battery pack. So it's always in context of the environment and the cost. So yes, aluminum air gives better range, but then you have to figure out how to take out the aluminum and recycle it and make a new pack. So all these we are exploring all the time. Conventionally right now at scale is only lithium, but hopefully, some of these will start scaling up over the next, or commercializing at least over the next few years so that even we can try smaller live pilots. So right now it's largely lithium, but we are always open to anybody. And there are a lot of these academia partnerships who are exploring this as well. So that's why we keep on going and listening and talking to them to see what else is new, what else can help us with,
Well, what are the options you think which are perhaps waiting in the wings, and which are the best candidates to kind of, at least at small scale?
Hard to say. I mean, we were in pretty deep discussions with a few of them, but I think this is confidential, but also it's relatively new. I don't see anything that I can put in my vehicle, say, for the next 2 years in the very short term.
Yeah. But in terms of the battery chemistry, it's lithium ion, but the LFP is the workhorse for you.
Yeah, LFP is the mainstay for us. Also, given the thermal properties, it helps us. Application and thermal properties, right? So looking at both and the context of India, all these three seem to work very well for, let's say, a three-wheeler application. The LFP is working well. Even for our small cargo four-wheelers, this appears to be the technology of choice. Also, availability is a big factor that determines which one. So, looking at all the options, the current best bet for us is LFP. NMC, because we don't need that much energy pull, it's not used and it also costs a lot more. So
unless you have a performance-oriented offering in the LMM range for personal application. Okay, that'd be interesting to have for customers, of course, coming from Mahindra. But I mean, Deepak, Dassault Systems has been is a global organization. I'm sure you have a lot of learnings, a lot of interesting case studies from the matured markets, where you have got a lot of learnings which you can implement here from the electric mobility space. Anything that you would, anything that comes to mind that you know think can be really offered to address some of the pain points for the industry, including players like Mahindra, let's say, you know, to.
So first of all, I will not say that we'll have to completely follow. Now the trend has changed even in India. So most of the discussions what I'm having with most of our customers in India is they started asking questions, why can't I be the first one? So which is a positive trend, right? So, but having said that, obviously the learning will really help. Particularly one aspect which I have to talk about is autonomous vehicle, the ADAS part of it. Like, you know, I mean, most of our customers are looking at it. Now today, as I earlier highlighted, right, software plays a major role. It's not just a piece of software which is going inside the vehicle. Maybe it's a last mile connectivity vehicle or a passenger vehicle, but it actually keeps on updating, or rather the requirements keeps on changing. The moment you change any requirement, the impact of that particular update, you never know what it may cost to the vehicle, right? So that way, your continuous testing, continuous simulation using the virtual technology is playing major role, and which has been widely accepted by most of the OEMs across the globe. And I see really a positive trend in India also happening. And I mean, I'll not shy away in telling that our own OEMs in India are really looking forward to implementing the right technology in the beginning, because they're all talking about future products now. So it's not anymore like, you know, revision of an existing vehicle. So they're talking about what I'm going to launch in next 3 years, next 5 years. Then your IT or a software technology has to be advanced in such that they want to simulate and see how the behavior at this point of time. So that way, we've been leveraging a lot of references or case studies, and then trying to help most of the OEMs in India to implement the same.
Talking about the industry, I mean, industry pain points. Any particular pain point that you know that you're facing that you that's also kind of posing a little bit hurdle in your journey, and that pain point could be common across many of your industry peers also.
Yeah, I think right now, if you think commercial vehicles, it is sub-financing, and financing is because of not establishing the residual value, which is where exactly what I was saying, that, you know, we need to crack this is how do you establish the residual value of the battery pack, which is the most expensive component of the vehicle. So that once that can be solved, it solves for a lot of problems in the industry, and that is only a data answer, right? It is a data and algorithm answer. How to detect the state of health, how to detect the degradation, how to improve the charging pattern, and how to see what is left behind at the end of
So
the
you're
life.
saying it's not a technology or technical problem, but technology can help solve it.
Yes, it's a problem of financing, but it will be solved through technology. And that is why it's so sweet that everything here has to work in collaboration. The financiers have to work with the OEMs and suppliers to make sure that we can solve for this and scale up electrification.
Right. Last words from both of you before we wrap up this episode. You're saying that now, I mean, gone are the days, I mean, we are entering an era, and I would agree with that statement, that we need not follow the more mature markets, or we need not follow the West. Now, perhaps we can not take a lead. So electric mobility gives the best opportunity for to the industry in terms of megatrend.
No, absolutely, yes. If you look at the not only the OEMs who are actually putting up across the EV part, but look at the startups. Look at the investments happening at academia. So we have been fortunate to get a lot of requests in setting up center of excellence in academic institutions. So where they want to actually have a COE by which young engineers, the workforce of the future, can actually come across and then look at how the EV vehicle is being designed, the battery pack challenges, what we have discussed, and then the sustainability part. So these are the thought process which is now most of the educational institutions are embedding with workforce of the future. So this is what actually going to help in future about, like, yes, what I highlighted about the technology on how we can actually take a forward thinking in terms of taking a deep assessment on what will be the future, what requirements are needed in the future to kind of come out with this new mobility or continuous enhancement, I will say. So this is something which is happening, and I'm happy that India.
What would be your message to young engineers, budding engineers?
They have to be innovative. They have to be innovative. Innovative in the sense it's not only coming out with some new solution or new product, but within that, how they can be innovative. For example, innovation in earlier days was always about coming out with new product or new wonderful, maybe something which is very interesting. Now, innovation is happening at all the aspects, whether it is manufacturing, your manufacturing line, the way you build, the MES systems, how you integrate, then how you actually create. I can't name some customers, but most of our customers in India are looking at coming out with virtual showrooms. So do I really have to have a physical showrooms for consumers to buy the vehicle? Because if I go to a customer and they may have only a color which is available on the showroom, but if I have to give an experience of different colors, different model with different experience, can I build a AR VR setup where somebody can go inside the car virtually and then see? So this is all we are trying to build. Now, when we have these kind of innovations happening, the young engineers have to actually think way beyond just a new product development to innovation at every stage.
Which in other words means the opportunities galore.
Absolutely.
For them.
Absolutely.
Suman, this is seen more in the passenger vehicle side and with this the automobile becoming more increasingly software defined, and and with the future being electric, the need and the opportunity to constantly upgrade the vehicle being remaining refreshed and contemporary. There's a demand for it, and there's an opportunity, and which manufacturers would like to kind of tap, so that the competitiveness of particular models are there throughout. And for consumers, okay, you don't have to replace your vehicle to get the latest. Is that something which is a demand in the LMM sector also?
See, on the last mile sector, we do actually give our customers application by the Nemo app. They can actually see in the app how many kilometers they've driven, how many trees they have saved, how much CO2 footprint they have improved, where they are located. We also give them applications for fleet efficiency and software. So the two areas where I see there is a need, more than the UI UX, right, which is where we are talking about the larger vehicles, but more than the UI UX, I see the need in reliability, for which all the software parts which are defining the vehicle performance, they need to be continuously upgraded. So whether it's BMS or MCU, whatever. So as and when you understand better approaches to doing something, you have to upgrade them. And that is, it's software, but it is crucial to keep the vehicle updated. And then the second part is the fleet efficiency. For our cargo fleet customers, there they need software and solutions to see how to maximize the utilization of their vehicle fleet. So while I say less on the UI UX, much more on the actual operating of the vehicle and application side also. So both these sides we are seeing demand or need rather, and UI UX we can always give a nice one for our customers and a very nice app which can anyway be updated.
Right, and as you also earlier during the discussion pointed out, the big data. With the and in the case of EVs, you can really mine the data very well, and therefore enhance efficiency. Introduce new things, drop things, perhaps eliminate things which are perhaps hindering the adoption or posing a challenge. Just curious, the 1 lakh plus EVs for LMM, cumulatively, how many kilometers they must have?
Oh, significantly. I think I don't know, the exact number keeps on changing every day, because every day we are selling more vehicles. But I wanted to say, we say computer on wheels, right? Yeah. But actually it is data on wheels. That's how I like to think about it, because from every cell, we collect data. To every kilometer driven, we have data. To every time it is charged, we have data.
Right.
So when you talk about an electric vehicle, it is fundamentally lots and lots of gigabytes of data that is coming together. And that needs to be processed in a way to both improve the vehicle performance, but also give, as you said, fit for market solutions. Don't over-spec it, don't over-design it, design the right answer for the customer segment. So I like to believe it's data on wheels, and we need to have, and 1 lakh vehicles have certainly given us an advantage in this regard.
You have a dedicated team of data miners?
Yes, and it is a cross-functional team. So there is analytics team which looks at a lot of the data. We have battery chemists along with that, and we have the customer market interface also. So we're trying to churn, and see what can evolve out of that group of very smart people who are sitting in a
How big is your R&D or engineering team?
Engineering team at this point is around 350 plus engineers.
Okay, significant.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sure they must, some of them at least must be really working on kind of options which will kind of help Mahindra LMM to kind of really grow its game, grow its presence, and tap new opportunities. So if you look at the next 5-year period, how do you see the last mile mobility, last mile transportation evolving on the cargo side and on the passenger side? And which are the new areas where you would like to be present in?
See, without giving up everything about a product plan, let's say, next 5 years is everything that we are doing at significant scale. So, which means every problem that could possibly be solved with some maybe manual intervention or, touch and feel, they are all gone, right? It has to be at significant scale. So, how we collect the data, how we process the data, how we manufacture the hardware chips in the country, how we are designing the software, how robust it is. Because then, once you are selling lakhs of vehicles, it is not easy to predict all the corner cases and do it. So everything from get-go has to be designed more robust, more reliable, and at scale, suitable for scale. And then we also have global aspirations. So I think everything at scale is my mantra for the business for the next 5 years.
On that note, Suman Mishra, thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
Deepak NG, really appreciate your participation in this very, very interesting and enriching discussion.
Pleasure.
I'm sure our viewers, you must have also enjoyed this discussion as much as I did in conducting this very special discussion in our studio here in Mumbai. Thank you for watching this episode of Technology Talks. Till we meet again in the next episode with another very interesting theme of discussion. Take care and goodbye.